Anyway, let me hook you guys up with something. There's a couple of things I want to talk to you guys about before we get started tonight. Number one, this in from my friend Michael C. Hall, who was on the show. You guys might remember him. He did 5-word freestyle. This is what I want you guys to look at. This is the nugget of truth for today. Our little advice unsolicited. When you focus on you, you grow. When you focus on shit, shit grows. Read it again if you didn't get it. And this is, I'll tie it in real quick to what I said earlier about the gratitude level of the person who won that computer. Because basically, it's not right for me to keep going on about that. You know, there's really only one thing. There's really only one thing that will make you unsuccessful. You can be successful in anything you do as long as you don't get bitter. Bitterness and unforgiveness will basically shield you from success your entire life. It will. It'll hurt you. It'll hold you back. If you're constantly focusing on something that happened last June, mind you. The giveaway was last July, something like that. 1st of July, I think, or end of June. For a year, I've been going on about this. No more. No more. We don't have to shame that person. And like I've told you guys before in other AU segments, you can't change how other people act. You can only change how you react to it. And I've been reacting improperly all this time. Seriously. So, we're gonna focus on growth. I remember, and this is completely off topic. Well, it's not. It's on topic, but I remember when Dr. Disrespect came back from his vacation over a year ago. He took a little time off between December 2017 and February 2018. He took a little time off. Got some things in order, made some changes, grew as a human. I remember when he came back, there were trolls in his channel going on about him, what he was alleged to do. Doesn't matter. I'm not accusing him. I'm not judging him. But there were people that came on there like, "Hey, dog, why aren't you blah, 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 blah." And he literally, on his first day back, said, "You know, if all I did was focus on the past like you do, I would never be moving forward." Pretty deep from a guy wearing a mullet wig and who was crazy enough to let a caterpillar grow on his face. You know what I mean? But Raptor, gotta let it go, man. Well, they could not gender. It was right on screen. Yeah, we thought we saw a little boy too, but it was just a little digit. Yeah. And on a side note, I do want to say this about Dr. Disrespect. How dare all of the gaming developers and studios not have a good game? We are living in the Dr. Disrespect era. We are living in a time that the greatest streamer gamer of all time is living and working and is showing off his talents in front of us, and nobody gives this guy a game that is on the same level that he deserves to play. Okay, that's all my plug. That's my Dr. Disrespect plug. No, but I remember him saying that. I remember him saying, he's like, you know, if I focused on the past like you do all the time, I would never be looking forward. Gotta look forward. You gotta give yourself room to grow. And if all you're doing is worried about some ungrateful twat that didn't say thank you properly when you gave him a computer last year, you're going nowhere. I told you guys, every time I'm talking to you guys about something serious like this, it's on me. It's things that I've noticed about myself that I'm going to work on changing. And if it helps you out too, great. But I'm not pointing the finger this direction. I'm pointing the finger this direction every time I do one of these. This is all, I hate to say it, it's about me. But these are changes that I need to make. And maybe instead of learning through your own failures, you can learn through someone else's. You can learn from me making mistakes rather than you having to make the mistakes yourself. It's a pretty good deal. Plus, we get to hang out 5 nights a week. Yeah, no, not everybody's a fan. You know what, Ize? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be real honest with you real quick. The reason I'm a fan of Doc. You guys are probably... I know Raptor is. Ize, you're probably young enough. Do you remember when your dad was your hero? Or a Raptor? You know how you look up to your dad? And he's like this hero figure when you're younger? And you think he can lift a car over his head, and he's like the coolest guy you know, and everything he does is art. You know, you remember that point in your life where your dad was your hero? Like, maybe you grow up, and if you've worked... I've worked side by side with my dad for 30 years. You know, after a while, it's like, can I get away from this guy? But, seriously, when you're younger, your dad's your hero, and you think he does no wrong, and you don't see the flaws. You don't see the flaws in the armor. You just see that guy with a cape that you've built up in your mind. Dr. Disrespect, from the first time I saw him, I was like, who is this clown? And then the more I watched him, he reminded me of my dad back when I thought my dad was the coolest guy on earth. That's all I can tell you about Dr. Disrespect, and I hopefully if Doc ever visits this stream, he will understand that is a compliment, and probably of the highest order I can give him. It was like when I told my wife, I said, you know, my mom was one of the dearest people on the planet. She really was. She was she wasn't self-righteous. She was very sensitive to the people around her. She was kind words. She was an encourager. She wasn't judgmental at all. And the biggest compliment I could give my wife was I was fortunate enough to marry someone like her. That is the compliment in the highest order. The compliment for Dr. Disrespect that I can give him of the highest order, he reminds me back when I thought my dad was the coolest guy on the planet. And that's all I can say. You don't have to be a fan. I know what watching his stream draws out of me. I feel like a little kid again. I feel like a little kid looking at my dad like, that's my hero. Oh, you can't whoop us. You can't whoop me and my dad. Like, you know, he was that kind of guy. Also, don't forget this. Don't forget this. I want you guys to grow. I want me to grow, but you get the point.